NC State lineup preview. Let's talk about that. NC State is one of my favorite colleges, mostly because it's such a similar campus to Penn State, where I went to school, but that's just a personal story of mine. Now, NC State are the ACC champions last year, and they finished 17th at the NCAA tournament. They qualified 9 out of their 10 guys in the lineup, which is stunning. Now, Hayden Hidlay was the lone All-American last year for NC State, who ended up placing 4th. He is a 2-time All-American, and he is returning. Now, unfortunately, there are 4 guys for those 9 qualifiers who have graduated and moved on from NC State. So, who are these freshmen looking to come in? Well, talking about their recruiting class, NC State has 3 out of the top 100 recruits. They had 4, but one of their guys, Sammy Alvarez, ended up decommitting and committing to Rutgers. Now, in the class of 2018, they actually had 6 out of the top 100. So there are some strong true freshmen and redshirt freshmen coming in, and I'll be talking all about that. But before I dive into 125, please let me know which lineup preview do you want to see next. I'm diving into all these lineup previews that you have asked for. And they're all on my channel, so make sure you check them out. But at 125 pounds, at 125, we have a pretty loaded weight for NC State here. First guy to talk about is Jacob Camacho. Now, Camacho right now is ranked in the NCAA, ranked nationally at 21. He's number 3 in the ACC. He's going to have some tough competition with Jack Mueller, Corbin Myers. He was 26-2 last year with his biggest win over the guy from UNC. Now, at the Southern Scuffle, which was one of his best tournaments last year in his redshirt year, he ended up losing to Nick Piccinini in the quarters, but he battled back and ended up taking 3rd, which shows that this kid has some grit. Now, of course, he's going to be taking over for Sean Fowles, who was the starter last year and a national qualifier. But who else is at this weight? Well, Erick Storm is a sophomore. Now, he actually lost to Camacho, which is why I don't think he's going to make the lineup this year. He lost him at an open last year. Tommy Cox actually lost to Erick Storm. He was 15-11 last year, wrestled a couple opens. And then Charlie Lennox, who's a junior, he actually also lost to Camacho. So you can kind of see the pecking order there. And then the last guy is Kai Areen, who's a true freshman incoming, number 49 overall recruit, ranked number 7 at 126 pounds from Missouri. But the guy starting here, I think, is going to be Jacob Camacho. Now, at 133 pounds, Tarik Wilson was a starter here last year, and he's still on the team, but we're going to see him moving up a weight class to 141. So who's at 133? Well, we have 2 guys here. One guy is John Devine, a sophomore, who's 7-7 last year. And the next guy is Jarrett Trombley, a redshirt freshman. There are a few redshirt freshmen itching to make the lineup this year, and I think have a very good shot of making the lineup. Now, right now, he's ranked nationally, number 23. In the ACC, the toughest guy he's going to have, of course, is probably going to be Mickey Philippi from Pitt. That's going to be his toughest competition. And he was 21-6 last year with his best win over the guy from Virginia Tech, Colin at the Hokie Open. Now, he did actually wrestle Dayton Fix last year. He ended up losing him, but he has been a little bit exposed to some of the better competition. So I think that Tremblay will be the starter at 133. Now, at 141, as I mentioned already, Tarik Wilson will be moving up. Now, what's Tarik Wilson? If you're not aware, of course, he was a national qualifier last year. He's ranked number 1 in the ACC and number 7 in the country. He was 17-5 last year with some strong wins last year, most notably over Corbin Myers. He was, as I said, an NCAA qualifier, placed 2nd at the ACCs. Now, he's going to have some depth there with Kellen Devlin, who's wrestled a couple opens last year and actually got a start last year at the UNC duel versus NC State. And then this is probably one of the most loaded weights for NC State, considering they have about 5 redshirt freshmen and true freshmen coming in as depth, who we'll probably see scatter a little bit in the years to come. But Tarik Wilson will be the starter at 141, in my opinion. And then at 149, 2 guys here, Matthew Grippy and AJ Lighton. Now, Lighton was 16-8 last year, but unfortunately he did lose to Grippy, so that's why I think Grippy's going to get the starter. But Grippy is number 4 in the ACC right now, but he's going to have some tough competition in Austin O'Connor from UNC. O'Connor is not just number 1 in the ACC, but number 1 in the country at 149. Now, Grippy's going to have some he's got to get some experience there coming in as a redshirt freshman, taking over for Justin Oliver at the weight. So that's why I have him starting at 149. At 157, the most exciting weight for NC State, we see Hayden Hidlay. Hidlay, of course, the wrestler out of Pennsylvania, the number one, not just in the ACC, but in the NCAA. He's finally going to get his shot at an NCAA title. Of course, over the past couple of years, he's kind of been bested by Jason Nolf. That's kind of been his biggest rival, I'd say. And listen, he was right there with Nolf last year, and I think Hidlay could have won the title last year if Nolf wasn't there, which that match where they wrestled in the semifinals had some big controversy. And Nolf even thought that Hidlay won, but ultimately the refs did argue against him, didn't give him points, whatever it is, okay? But Hidlay, this year is his year, okay? It's his year. Two-time ACC champ, two-time All-American, placed fourth last year, was 24-4. Of course, other than there's losses in Nolf, he did have some nice wins over Alec Pantaleo and Ryan Deacon. He will be starting in at 157 for NC State. Now, moving up to 165, Thomas Bullard. Bullard is number 12 in the country right now, number 2 in the ACC, behind David McFadden. Now, David McFadden, you'll see there's a link between him over the next couple of weight classes, just because McFadden's kind of moved up and down. Now, McFadden from Virginia Tech is number 1 in the ACC and will be some tough competition for Bullard. Bullard was 21-10 last year. He actually had a close loss to Mekhi Lewis at the ACC Championships last year. Pretty close, and considering Mekhi won nationals, it bodes very well for Bullard. Now, he was end up a national qualifier, didn't end up placing, but the other guys at this weight class, Tyler Barnes, a redshirt freshman, he actually wrestled the Hokie Open last year, a couple of opens, just one actually, and Alex Fairson, a sophomore who he did wrestle multiple opens. He was 13-11. Those will be the guys probably backing up Bullard, who will be the starter as a junior. Now, Bullard's brother is Daniel at 174 pounds. Bullard, the brother Daniel, is number 20 in the NCAA, and he is number 1 in the ACC. He was 21-11 with a close loss to McFadden. As I mentioned already, there's that link with McFadden. Number 20 in the country. He had a few other close matches, was a national qualifier last year. And then the other guy at this weight is Jake Cook, who wrestled a couple opens, was at 11-9 last year. And there are actually a couple other freshmen who are probably going to redshirt this year, not necessarily going to make the lineup, but they're just saying that's what's at this weight. And that will be Daniel Bullard's weight at 174. Now, at 184 comes the second set of brothers. The second set of brothers comes to an end with Trent Hidlay. Hidlay is Hayden's brother, taking over for Nick Reenan. Reenan, you will see moving up a weight class, just like Tarik Wilson. I think that this is best for the team. We'll see what happens once we kind of closer to the end of the season if any of these guys want to end up dropping. But Hidlay will probably be the starter here. He's number 14 in the country right now, number 3 in the ACC. Now, in the class of 2018, he was the number 18 recruit overall. He's 24-2. He had 2 losses in his redshirt season with a win over Finesilver, and he actually had an overtime loss to McFadden. As I mentioned, that link just keeps going on with McFadden from 65 to 84, okay? Now, McFadden, of course, is number 1 at 65 in the ACC, but at 184, it bodes well for Trent Hidlay. He also has a win over Mason Manville of Penn State. Now, the other guy at this weight class is Jacob Ferrara, who's 15-12 last year. He wrestled a couple opens. I believe that Hidlay's going to end up getting the starting position here as a redshirt freshman. Great lineup this year for NC State. Have multiple freshmen crack that lineup, but they also have some strong returners. One of those strong returners is Nick Reenan. Reenan taking over from Malik McDonald at 197, who was an ACC champion last year. Reenan is moving up, as I said, from 84, number 9 in the country, and number 1 in the ACC, where he actually took 3rd last year at 184. He was 16-6 last year, his best wins over Taylor Benz. Now, he also had a loss to him. They kind of went back and forth, but a strong ranked win over him. And then also Chip Ness is another strong win that Reenan has. The other guys at this weight class are Christian Knopp, a true freshman, number 92 overall recruit, number 15 at 195 pounds in the class of 2019. And then Tarik Wilson, who was 11-10 last year, who wrestled 197 and heavyweight. But I believe that we're going to see Nick Green starting again here as a junior. And at 285, and before I finish this list at 285, I will be diving into my overall predictions and thoughts on the team this year. Now, 3 guys here. First is Owen Treffen. Treffen is a true freshman and a 3-time state champion from Blair Academy. He is a Beast of the East champion, and he actually wrestled at Who's Number 1, where he had a nice win. He's a number 72 overall recruit, and he was number 4 at 220 pounds in high school. So I believe he's going to take that redshirt year, not going to crack the lineup this year, but some strong depth for NC State. We also have Colin Lawler, a sophomore, was 18-13. Now he had a nice win over ranked Matt Voss from George Mason, but he does have a loss to the guy who I think is going to start in Deontay Wilson. Wilson is unranked right now. He's one of the NC State guys that did not qualify this past year, but he's absolutely looking to qualify this year. He's number 3 in the ACC, as I mentioned, unranked at the national level. He's 22-12. Now he had no major wins, but he's wrestled some tough competition. He's going to have his hands full with Demetrius Thomas, so I think that Wilson is going to get the starting position. Now, as far as overall thoughts on the team, well, I think they're going to have about 4 to 5 All-Americans this year. I know that may sound like a leap, and considering they had 9 qualifiers last year and only 1 finisher, we got to see some more out of NC State, and I think this is their year. The other guy really to watch out for is Hayden Hidlay. He's had a shot the last couple of years, but just hasn't been able to squeak past Nolf. I think that this is his year at 157, and I'm excited for him. I'm excited to see what happens. Now, I think that this team can crack the top 15 finish, get closer to 10, but considering their 17th finish last year, they need to get some more point scores at the national tournament. I think that we're going to see them become ACC champions this year again. However, they're going to have some tough matches against Virginia Tech and Pitt. Absolutely. Now, that is what I think about NC State, but make sure you check out the other lineup previews on this channel if you're interested in what's coming up for this season.